to meet Joe Manganiello? Let's give him a round of applause. Telford, please welcome to the stage, Joe Manganiello! Look at these shoes. Really stepping it up. Doesn't he look fabulous, ladies and gentlemen? Who are you wearing? You look beautiful. Welcome, welcome.
Hi.
Hi, how has it been going so far here at Comic Con Midlands, meeting your adoring UK fans?
It's been great. Everybody's been super nice. I haven't been here that long. I flew in this morning from Dublin.
Oh, wow.
Well, my Steelers are playing in Dublin in the first NFL game in Ireland, so I was over there for that.
Everyone that I told I was interviewing you because I was really excited to fangirl, they said, ask him about the Steelers.
Yeah.
Big sports guy, huh?
Yeah, when you're from Pittsburgh, yes.
You have to.
Yeah. It's in your blood.
Of course. Well, out of all the fan interactions you've had, I mean, you're no stranger to meeting your adoring fans. What are some of the most memorable fan interactions that you can recall? Good or bad?
Positive. Okay, positive or negative. Okay. Well, the one that comes to mind, there was a Comic Con one year. It was my first season on True Blood. We were all at Comic Con in San Diego. And a woman came up to get something signed and said, she said, I heard that when wolves are wounded or injured, they lick each other to heal their wounds. And then with a dead look in her eyes, she stared at me and said, will you lick me?
Oh my gosh.
And I looked over at the security guard and he went, ma'am, could we please move you down the line? It was a quick interaction. So, but that's the one that definitely springs to mind. But usually they're not that way.
Not so threatening.
Not that way. Yeah.
That's some moxie to ask that dead to your eye. I mean, that's...
I don't know about moxie. I think it's the opposite. It was just like a kind of a dead stare.
Oh, no.
I was like, all right.
Right through your soul. Well, I'm glad you mentioned True Blood. Of course, we love True Blood here at Comic Con. And we have so many different, sci-fi genres, but the fantasy genre, the vampire genre is so important to us. Tell us what it was like to work on True Blood. Do you have any fun memories?
Yeah, I mean, True Blood was amazing. I was on the show for 5 years, and it was just great work. I mean, I just love the work. Everything from, my character was from Jackson, Mississippi, and that's a very specific dialect, accent from that area. So that was really fun to get into. The books are so rich. The character was so rich in the books. I was the kind of kid that just dreamed of turning into a werewolf as a boy. So the idea to be able to get to play that and kind of like build that out, and I just love that character. I thought he was such an interesting person. And Robert Patrick is here today, who played my dad on the show. And it was so fun to get to work with him. And all the actors are so great. I mean, it was a bunch of, we were all theater trained. So, the show was actually deceptively tricky. And there were a lot of really great trained actors on the show. Juilliard, Carnegie Mellon, a lot of West End, London theater performers. So we all got along really well. It was... Alan Ball, I think, said it best when he said True Blood is popcorn for smart people.
Ooh, that's very, very well said. Well, we're talking about the fantasy genre with vampires, but as you can see here, especially from these amazing cosplayers, there's so many different genres that are represented at Comic Con, which we love, right? You've got superheroes, you've got Star Wars. What are you a fan of when it comes to, like, if you were just coming here as a fan, what would you gravitate towards? Who are your people?
Well, I work for Dungeons and Dragons. I've worked for Dungeons and Dragons over the years, and so I think a lot of people think, oh, he's a fan, but like, I actually work for the company. I was hired to develop the Dragonlance series of novels into a TV show, and I wrote the pilot and turned that in, and then I was also hired to put together an official Dungeons and Dragons documentary as a director and a producer. So, I always lean towards like medieval fantasy novels. I was a big Tolkien fan from the time I was young, and that evolved into Dragonlance and tabletop role playing. So pretty much like tabletop role playing is my genre.
You are in the right place, am I right?
Yeah.
You are in the perfect spot here at Comic Con Midlands for sure. But if we can rewind back to when you were doing that kind of stuff and being a fan, what caused you to pursue acting? Was there someone or something that made you think, I want to pursue this professionally?
I mean, probably young Gary Oldman. I mean, Gary Oldman's string of it was True Romance and Beethoven and Dracula, and I mean, even The Professional was kind of out there for him, but yeah, I mean, he was a rock star. So probably young Gary, young Val Kilmer, young Edward Norton, and then like Brando, De Niro. I mean, I don't know if they ever thought about wanting to be those guys, but they were those were the people that really inspired me growing up. And then directors, I came up in the 90s, so it was 90s independent films. So you had Tarantino and Danny Boyle, and of course then the music video directors Fincher and Michel Gondry, and there were a lot of really, really great and exciting filmmakers in the 90s. So yeah, all of them.
Well, we always talk about comfort shows, and we love to hear from actors what their comfort shows are, because so many of us watch your shows as comfort. Even True Blood, as morbid as that sounds, it became a comfort show for many of us during COVID, for example. What comfort shows are you watching when you want to unwind, when you're off the clock?
I just went back and started watching the original Game of Thrones from the beginning. I mean, when you say comfort, I mean you've got to pay attention, so I'm not I don't have it on in the background, but no, definitely, I've gotten back into Game of Thrones recently, but other than that, I don't know. I mean, I watch a lot of documentaries, so.
That's very unwinding, yeah. After your hard day at work.
I guess.
Watch some sword fighting and Game of Thrones as well. Hey,
yeah, sure.
Why not? Well, as you can see, we have a lot of people in the crowd that are into cosplay, they're very creative, but a lot of the fans that are here, they're aspiring actors, aspiring directors, producers. What advice would you give to them if there's someone in the crowd here that wants to get into the entertainment industry?
Well, I mean, if you're an actor, do theater. Theater actors can do everything. If you can act on stage, you can act for film. That's just an adjustment. So, yeah, I mean, I came up in the theater, so I always recommend that people do that. If you want to be on the other side or you want to direct, then you've got to direct something. Write something to direct, or go get somebody's script to direct. You've got this device in your pocket that you can film with and edit with, and Soderbergh shot movies on an iPhone, and go figure out how to do it. Stop wasting time and go do it.
Yeah, for that reason, I think social media is pretty cool. People are getting discovered by using their phones.
I guess. I mean, social media is short form and not always well thought out or well acted. So, but I'm of a certain generation that had the attention span for all of that. So, I wanted to make it look good, and be good. And so, look good, be good, take the time, make it good.
For real. Good advice to all of the aspiring creatives in the audience. Well, superheroes, we have to talk about superheroes. It's a huge deal here at Comic Con. You can see literally Batman's watching intently over there. But the first thing I remember seeing you in was Spider-Man as Flash. And Spider-Man, that was my favorite personal Spider-Man. What was it like to get that role? And for you to join the Marvel Universe, I'm sure that was a really, really big, exciting deal.
Well, there wasn't a Marvel Universe at the time.
That's true, actually, yeah.
So, all that came later.
It's all your fault.
It's all Iron Man's fault, actually. But I mean, Spider-Man was the first superhero movie at the time that was shot in the daylight, where the characters didn't wear black leather. Because prior to that, it was Tim Burton's Batman. You had The Crow. You had Blade. You had X-Men 1 and 2. All black black leather, shot at night, dark, moody, and Spider-Man was the first one that took, was in the daytime with a teenager going through teenage problems. And, what was it like to get cast? I mean, I was just out of drama school. I was only a few days out of drama school. I hadn't even graduated yet. I was visiting Los Angeles. I got offered a TV contract, like a TV development deal. We'll develop TV shows for you under contract. And I said no, because at the time, in the year 2000, you had to choose TV or film. People didn't do both. George Clooney was the only one who went from TV to film. Like, it just wasn't a thing. And so I declared film. I said no to the TV contract. I got sent out to audition for Peter Parker, the role of Peter Parker, which I was completely wrong for. And the casting director knew it. She said, you're a good actor. Because I had like a button-down shirt with glasses on. And she said, you were really great, but you're never going to get this role. There's this other part that's right for you. And I went, oh, right, Flash. And she said, yeah. And I unbuttoned the shirt, and I had like a tank top underneath, like a t-shirt. And I took the glasses off because I was hoping she was going to say that. And she went to go get the script for me to read, and I said, I'm okay. And she went, what do you mean? I go, I'm already off book. So I learned the Flash sides just in case she knew I was wrong and would read me, and that's exactly what happened. So she was kind of taken aback by that I'd prepared the other role. I read with her, and as soon as I was done, she said, how long are you in town? I said, how long do you need me here? She said, I want you to meet Sam Raimi. And so the following week, she got me a gig. I got paid $500 for the day to go to work, to screen test as Flash against all of the Spider-Man candidates in their screen tests. So at the time, it was Scott Speedman, James Franco, who was shooting the James Dean movie, and then this other guy who I never saw again, but there were the three of them that were the finalists, and I screen tested with each of them as Flash. As everybody knows, Tobey Maguire got the part of Peter Parker. He wound up entering the race later and screen tested by himself, and then I wound up Flash and James Franco wound up Harry, but all three of us had auditioned for Peter Parker.
That's very cool.
So, yeah, that's kind of the nuts and bolts of it. I mean, there's also like the 10-minute version, but maybe that's best.
Hey, we got 10 minutes, don't we, guys?
Well, so that was in June. I didn't get called back until November because they went and found the rest of the cast. Then in November, they brought me back in to screen test by myself, called me that day and said, you got the part. 2 weeks later, my roommate came home and said, I think my friend auditioned for your part today. The head of the studio didn't think I was all-American enough looking. After Sam Raimi gave me the part, she made them take it away from me and she started auditioning people again.
What?
That went on for about 2.5 months.
Wow.
My agent called me on Christmas Eve and said, congratulations, they didn't find anybody else. So
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you excited? Yeah, great, So I'd already had my heart broken by Hollywood for right out of the gate.
Yeah.
But it was like, welcome to Hollywood.
Right. And Merry Christmas to you. Here's
Yeah.
your part. Wow. But it just goes back to show you, in your audition, you did the homework, and it certainly paid off to know the Flash sides.
Yeah, I mean, coming out of drama school, I had a drama kid's, resume.
Yeah.
And I remember Sam Raimi looking at my resume and turned it over to the back and said, well, you did go to Carnegie Mellon, right? Like, he just wanted a reason to trust me.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, you have to get these people to trust you because you're going to go out there and represent hundreds of millions of dollars in a billion-dollar franchise, something that's going to kick off, billions of dollars being spent and made at the box office. So they want to trust that you're going to show up and do the job. And that was my first job out of drama school.
Yeah.
But what a big job. Yeah.
What a good gig. We're so glad that it worked out in your favor. Well, because we love Spider-Man, we'd love to get your thoughts on the continuation of Spider-Man. It spans generations, and now there's a lot of new series films coming out. What are your thoughts on the Spider-Man universe after you departed?
I haven't watched any of them.
No.
I saw the first Tom Holland movie, and that's it.
Yeah.
I didn't see the Garfield ones. I haven't seen any of the other ones.
Spoiler alert, they're all amazing. So you got to go tell Joe which ones you like at the table. But of course, I'm a big fan of the originals just because I'm kind of old school in that way. Yeah. Speaking of originals, we have to talk about Magic Mike.
Okay.
I was expecting all the ladies to go, yeah, there we go. So I did tell him backstage, I said, we have a mutual friend in Kevin Nash. I'm from the wrestling world. But I have to ask, when you got this role, having done amazing things that are, theater and then some comedy, and what was it like to step onto that dance floor? Were you ready for the physicality of Magic Mike? How'd you prepare?
Yeah, it was easy. I mean, I'm a really physical person. I was an athlete. The amount of fight scenes, choreography, dance, movement, I played a werewolf, I've always, one of the things I enjoy the most about acting is telling a story through movement. A story with a beginning, middle, and end that doesn't necessarily have dialogue.
Yeah.
So, no, I was excited about all of that. Nothing can prepare you for how funny all of it is, When I read the script for Magic Mike, it wasn't funny. It was about, kind of like, the financial crash in '08. And it was really, Magic Mike is a remake of Saturday Night Fever. It's about a guy who's the king of the world in this bubble, in this club life, but then in the real world, he's a loser. And it really read that way. Soderbergh was coming off of The Girlfriend Experience, which was basically, a film about a real life sex worker. And it was very dark, very indie, and I thought that's what Magic Mike's gonna be.
Right. Until
we got to the dance routines and we all started rehearsing, and it was like, this is the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. Which was great because I also have a long background in comedy, so it was like I understand the assignment here. So yeah, it was fun.
Well, our mutual friend Kevin Nash often does Monopoly events, Comic Con. So if you give me your thoughts on Kevin Nash, we have to talk about it because then I'll return the favor when he comes and joins us next time. Thoughts on Big Sexy?
Kevin Nash is like, you wouldn't know this until you sit down and talk to him, but the man is a genius. Like he is like genius level intelligence, and he is fascinating. That guy's got a fascinating life, fascinating stories. When we were finishing shooting Magic Mike in Tampa, and I took all the guys to go to the Salvador Dali Museum in St. Petersburg, Florida. They have this unbelievable Dali museum, like better than anywhere else in the world. And Nash was like, let me tell you something about Cubism and, the surrealistic period. He's a wealth of information.
He is, and he's very sophisticated. He knows his fine wines, but he's also very funny and very dry, which I think makes sense for that film.
We all were just cracking each other. We really laughed all day long every day on that film. On both of them.
Well, there is a congratulations in order for, am I saying this right? Nonas or Nonas?
Nonas.
Nonas, that's what I thought. I'm not Italian, so I kept trying to Google it. I was like, am I saying this right? Yeah. Nonas was nominated for an Emmy, so let's have a round of applause. And if you guys have not seen this film, it's so light and heartwarming. Tell us about working on the film.
Yeah, so Nonas is a comedy about, it's a true story, actually based on a true story, about a man who loses his mother. And when his mother passes away, in order to honor her, he opens a restaurant. And in New York, there's a restaurant in Staten Island called Enoteca Maria, where grandmas cook your food. So you go to this Italian restaurant, you order your meal, and then a grandma cooks it and brings it out to you. And it's amazing.
Wow.
And now they even have there's a Puerto Rican grandma, there's a Japanese grandma, there's all these other different grandmas, other than Italian. But our movie is about these Italian grandmas. Vince Vaughn plays the restaurateur. I play his best friend. who he ropes into building the restaurant for him. I'm a contractor. And then the Italian grandmas are Susan Sarandon, Lorraine Bracco, Talia Shire, and Brenda Vaccaro, and they're like unbelievable. And so we made this great movie that was the #1 streaming movie in the world for months this past year. And it just, it was just this big sensation that we made. We shot it 2 years ago, kind of forgot about it, and then it came out and just became the biggest thing in the world.
Well-deserved success, and we're talking about a comfort show, a comfort film. That is actually one of my faves. Nona's, make sure you check it out.
Yeah.
I'm here to ask the hard-hitting questions. What was the food like? What was the catering like on that? I mean, that must have been, was it authentic while you're on set?
No. I mean, well, it was, but I'm not involved in the cooking scenes. I'm in the construction scenes, so I'm not...
Catering was an Italian grandma cooking now?
No.
Oh, man.
But I mean, they're also cooking, so you got to film it. You can't eat it. You got to film. You got to get the shot. So, no. But I will say that we were hosted. I mean, Vince and I went to the actual Enoteca Maria one night to meet the guys that we play in the movie.
Oh wow!
Because he plays Joe and I play Bruno, so we went to meet the real Joe and Bruno and the real grandmas. And I mean, and then we, like anywhere around New Jersey or New York that we went, all the chefs wanted to impress us. Yeah, but it was like a 12-course Italian meal 4 times a week. It was like insane. And all the grandmas kind of reverted. So at the end of the meal, whatever food was left over, they'd all look at me and go, "Here, honey, finish it." Like I'm 12 years old. At the time, I'm 46. Like, I don't need to be eating all this all night long. But I did. And so 4 nights a week, it was like, I'm like laying back in my hotel room, staring at the ceiling, like rocking back and forth, you know.
That's overload.
Hitting the gym the next day, yeah.
But they made it look so good. I'm just hungry just thinking about it. But before we let you get back to your fans, you've got so many autographs and photos I know you need to do here. But we want to commend Joe on your philanthropy and all of your amazing causes that are close to your heart. Can you tell us about what you're an advocate for and why? What causes are close to your heart?
Well, there was only really one. You know, I think when it comes to charity, you don't want to spread yourself thin. You stand for this, a charity. And I'm from the city of Pittsburgh, again, Pittsburgh Steelers here in Ireland, but here in the UK. But yeah, no, I always wanted to stay connected to Pittsburgh, and I love kids, and my heart goes out to kids that are dealing with difficulties, and a lot of times people don't think about the parents of the children. They have to drop their kids off at a children's hospital, and they have to go back to work to pay for the kid to be there. So the kids are all alone and the parents don't get to see them. The parents are working to find it. So a lot of the charity work that I do with Pittsburgh Children's Hospital is raising funds for the parents. And then also, lots of stuff around the hospital. So, I've been on the board of directors of Pittsburgh Children's Hospital for many years. And then actually last year, I joined one more charity, another charity, which is the Children of Armenia Fund. I am the descendant of an Armenian genocide survivor. And the Armenians were massacred by the Ottoman Turkish Empire in 1915 under the veil of World War I. 1.5 million Armenians were killed. These were not soldiers. These were women. These were children. My great-grandmother, her husband, her entire family were murdered, and 8 of her children were murdered in front of her, and the 9th one drowned in her escape. And the surviving Armenian population was taken in by the USSR and was kind of protected by Russia for, 80 years. And while they were living under those conditions, they were very repressed. And so there were very intelligent, really brilliant kids living in these villages. Actually, the president of Armenia grew up in a small village. And so I'm part of the Children of Armenia Fund sets up schools and schooling and after-school programs for these kids in these villages and teaches them. And like, one of the kids just got into Harvard. There are brilliant kids out there in these villages. So it's about going out and finding these kids and providing them the opportunities. So that's the other charity that I'm a part of. But those are the two.
Very cool. Well, honestly, for someone of your status to use your platform to advocate and for great causes, round of applause. That's very, very cool. Not everyone's doing that. Some people are just, taking photos of their salads.
Well, I try to make it clear to people, this is not political. And whatever social media or platform or publicity that I would ever give to these charities has nothing to do with politics. It's personal.
Right.
My family was affected by the Armenian genocide. It's personal.
Right.
Like these are personal stories. And same thing with Pittsburgh Children's Hospital. I'm from there. This is my community that also services the rest of the world and children and countries around the world. Pittsburgh Children's Hospital monitors hospitals around the world. So again, this is my town, and it's personal.
Very cool. Kudos. Good for you. Very cool. Well, we're going to keep you very, very busy here at Comic Con Midlands with all of your UK fans that are so excited to see you. But just a final question. When you do leave us here in beautiful Telford, what is next for you? Professionally, personally, what's Joe looking forward to after this?
One Piece, Season 3.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's it. Taking down the Straw Hats. That's what's next.
And by the way, we're going to do a little disclaimer. If you go meet Joe later in the celebrity area, no licking questions. Let's be cool. Let's show him a good time here in Telford. Let's be respectful. And ladies and gentlemen, show your appreciation for the incredible Joe Manganiello. Thank you so much. Keep it all going for Joe. Joe's headed back to the celebrity area. One more time. Let's hear it for him, Telford. All right. Love those sneakers. We have Joe heading back to the area for you guys to meet.